What's up guys, how's it going today? So we got our updated Pure Cyber Dragon deck profile, taking into consideration a lot of the online tournaments and what I actually expect the current meta to be. Current meta being, well, online, because that's just how the game goes. Now I know a lot of people are saying it's a fake meta because anyone can just use whatever cards they want, but at the end of the day when you look at an event like the Luxury Championship Series, pro players don't care about the price of the decks. They go and play what decks are going to most likely get them the win. So I do put a lot of merit into that tournament and the results of it. Invoked Eldritch won. Adamancipator took up the majority of top cut, including 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Those two decks, I believe, combined for the entire top 10. So I did definitely take that into consideration while also being able to hit other decks while we built this. So we're almost to May now. Let's say if by the end of May, everything hopefully will start to be getting, looking a little bit brighter for the future. So why not our channel as well? A lot of you have asked about this playmat. I ordered another one, so if we can hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of May, I will give one of these playmats away to somebody. So comment down below and let me know why you play the game. Other than that, I will have a link below if you want to click on it. Mother's Day is still coming up rather quickly, and if you still need to get anything, use that link. There's all kinds of like hand lotions, beauty products, stuff like that, and anyone who orders from that link down below in the description, I will randomly pick one to go on Stay Classy LLC's website and pick out any field center in stock, including the restocked Cyber Dragon Infinity field centers, and let me know which one you want. I will purchase it and ship it to you. Just a few things that I'm trying to do to give back to you guys for helping us grow and become more, well, helpful to everybody. So without further ado though, we are going to get right on into this deck profile for today. Like I said, we are running our Pure Cyber Dragons. So anyone who knows me knows for Pure Cyber Dragon, I prefer to play one Cyber Dragon because the other two are on the playmat. But now, in all reality, I'm going to go real in depth with this profile and choices. So one Cyber Dragon started with the Trap build and Yasin, and I really felt at first off-put by it. I didn't like it at all, and then I didn't like it so much that I just had to try it, and I really fell in love with the Trap build. I thought it worked really, really well. It just didn't brick, and I noticed a lot of it was because of one OG as opposed to the dupes and 3 Cyber Dragons. And I'm not saying like you won't open a target for dupe. That's not how you brick on dupe. You brick on dupe by also opening these. You brick on dupe by the once in a while not being able to get to one of your babies. You brick on dupe by mid-game drawing into it when your Cyber Dragons are in your grave. And most importantly, going second, your opponent will almost never let you resolve your machine dupe anyway. And if it does go through and you win like that, odds are you could have won with less anyway, and it wasn't really needed. It just kind of helped you show off on your way to the win. And I found that if machine dupe acts as a negate, like they takes up one of their negates, if you replace those 5 cards with more hand traps, that one hand trap more often than not stops multiple negates from hitting the board. So I guess I would rather make them end very suboptimally and then use one of our many 2-card combos to just OTK them. And yeah, I guess that's why I've bricked way less with this deck, and I've actually OTK'd more with it despite not playing those cards. It is really weird at first, and I do understand the skepticism, but I do urge people to try it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. There's nothing wrong with playing machine dupe, and I will not tell people to not play it. I just 100% stand behind not playing it. Before we move on, quick note, I do think it's also really good. A few of us talked on the Discord about this. Without dupe, just play it for a bit, because you learn how to manage the rest of your resources so much better. And even if you go back to playing dupe, it'll help you grow as a player, because you learn so many plays that you don't need machine dupe, but if you have it, you have it. And it's just really good to know these other lines of play that are possible. Moving on, 3 Cyber Dragon Core, probably one of the cards I'll talk about the least because we all know exactly what it does. Summons, well, any Cyber Dragon monster out of your deck if you banish it from the graveyard while they control monster and you don't. I use that effect all the time, especially with Naxter to get back a Rampage or an Infinity, but otherwise searching out your traps and spells to basically get whatever you need pending the rest of your hand. Three Cyber Dragon hurts because we like to keep recycling our cores, we like to keep recycling our Naxters, and it just pairs up with Galaxy Soldier so crazy good. Two Naxter because being able to revive our Seeger, our Infinity, an OG, a Rampage, a Nova is just broken. Cyber Twin, you can do so much with it, and it's really good mid to late game. Like I said, summoning it off of your core that you banished to just cheat this out of the deck that way. Really like it at 2. One fear, I know a lot of people don't like this card, but I have seen more people talk about playing it now, and I really feel like we should be playing it at 1. It's a level 4 for Overflow, that's already huge, because personally I don't like to banish my core if I don't have to get that pop. I guess it's just resource management. I'd rather have core in the grave to either banish it via its effect, or be able to recycle it with hurts, or just not banishing it off Overflow. So resource management is a huge part of why I play Fear, because you can get it to the grave and use that as one of your 3 pops for your Overflow, and then you're not burning up your core. It also chain blocks any quick effect monster negation, like Appaloosa, Boreal Savage, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Ash Blossom. People always know that one. Your online simulators may not let you because most of them follow OCG rulings where trigger effects in private location like hand are considered quick effects, so that's why there's that small difference in ruling there. And also just going into Verde Anaconda is so much easier because you get 2 monsters on board with just a normal summon, special summon, Verde play, OTK. Triple Cyber Dragon, triple Cyber Dragon Soldier, being able to search himself, pitch your hurts, just combo off, get to your Nova, make your Infinity, play like that. Core Extender. So our OTKs for this deck, if you open like your core and then your extender, whether that's Galaxy Soldier, Hurts, Emergency, Repair Plant, that's how we OTK, because you just link off your core for your Almirage, you search out your other extender that you need, and then do your Nova play, summon back a Cyber Dragon, go into Infinity, go into Verde, and then Verde's effect to cheat out your Rampage, and that's 9300, plus you can suck a monster up with Infinity. And I understand that 2500 for the highest attack and 9300 aren't really guaranteed OTKs, but you also still have 4 cards in hand to help with the rest of that. So that's the route I choose to go. So 3 Galaxy Soldiers, very good card. I always want to see it. If playing 3 and you open 2 of them, it doesn't hurt. Repair Plant, you can shuffle 1 back, things like that. Kaiju, I highly recommend playing 2. It just came out again in the structure deck, so it's like a 30-cent card now, very affordable and very powerful. Just searchable Kaiju. I've outed so many boards. I've OTK'd Eldritch because of this card, just so much. I've been testing non-stop for hours now, doing really good. I think I'm 7 or 8-0 now, and I 2-0'd the 1 Adamancipator I played, the 1 Eldritch, it was Invoked Eldritch, 2 Cyber Dragons, there was a Madolche, 2 Salamangreats, and I think there's 1 other deck. Only 2 of my matches went to game 3, but I know part of that's player level 2 and it's being online, so grain of salt, but I'm really liking the way the deck has performed thus far, and 2 Kaiju is a huge part of that. 3 Gamma, 1 Driver, because negating and destroying is just really good. I can't I can't express enough how good that really is. Like, a lot of decks can play through a negate or a destruction, but in negate and destroy, it's just really good, especially if going first you set up Lambda Infinity, because you can't play blind afraid of Mega Fleet, so you set up Lambda Infinity with Gamma in hand. 2 negate and destroys is really, really good, and Gamma pairs up really nicely actually with Nibiru. I really like Nibiru. It doesn't really hit Eldritch, but pretty much most other decks it's actually pretty decent against. There are obviously other ones that it's not, but say you activate Nibiru, like you let him just go off. In the one Cyber Dragon match, I let him completely do everything he could, and he had like Infinity, the whole 9 yards, and then I went to Nibiru him, and he went to negate it with Infinity, and I Gamma'd him, so then negate and destroy the Infinity, obviously. Gamma and Driver hit the field. Now Nibiru tributes them, putting your Driver into the graveyard. So now your 2 other Gammas in your deck are still alive. Good little interaction that way. And guaranteeing your Nibiru goes through. I also did that to, well, something similar, which we'll get to here shortly. Something very similar to that to Adamancipator to actually shut him down one of our 2 games. So moving forward, absolutely crushes Salad too. Like, Nibiru's so good. Another hand trap that I think is kind of overlooked by a lot of people in the group, at least. I really love DD Crow. The 2 best decks right now, Adamancipator and Eldritch, and then Invoked Shaddoll's are also up there. Salamangreat, all 4 of them are hit really, really good by DD Crow, and even Invoked Eldritch. Like, you can DD Crow Eldritch himself, which is what I prefer to do. Otherwise, versus other invoked ones, as soon as they play Invocation, you DD Crow the Alistair out of the grave, and then they can't summon anything unless they also opened another Alistair. So I really, really like DD Crow in that aspect. You hit Block Dragon in Adamancipator, because Block Dragon, they just abuse the hell out of that card. It's so broken. But get it out of the grave to kind of shorten what they can do and make their board much more manageable. Salamangreat, you hit usually like what Gazelle would dump, Rage or Roar. You could also hit, say, Jack Jaguar. I'm not a huge fan of hitting Gazelle unless they end really badly, because otherwise after turn 1 they're usually set up well enough that they don't rely on Gazelle anyway. So I'd hit Jaguar or one of the traps when they dump it off of Gazelle, or you can even wait until the Sunlight targets one and then do it that way. Onto our spells and traps. 3 Cyber Emergency. Searching out any of our Cyber monsters, pretty obvious there. 1 Cyber Repair Plant. I was playing 2, but I was running into hands where I do open a lot of hand traps in this, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I actually like opening 3 hand traps because I know my opponent can't play, and then I'll have 3 cards to meet my 2 card OTK. So I really like that, but Repair Plant needing the Cyber Engrave was starting to conflict a little bit more than I would like, and it wasn't too much, but like when you go to a big tournament, it's the little things like that. Like, you can't play cards that win you games. You have to play cards that win you the most games. Like, almost any card can win you some games, but you want to play the card combination that will win you the most games, and that's why I had to cut 1 Repair Plant, because 2 was definitely winning games, but I won more games with 1, if that makes sense. 1 Rev System. I actually find myself contemplating cutting this card all the time. The protection effect comes up once in a great while, but I'm almost never in a position that I need that, and it's kind of an extender that I more or less, when I have it in my hand, I'm happy to have it, but I never need it enough to search it out. But I don't know, I guess I feel like I would miss it way too much if I cut it, but when it's there, I just guess it's almost like it's not. Cyberload Fusion, such a good card. Searchable win button, resource management, keeping your grind game going by shuffling back your cards, setting it and popping your opponent's back row when they set it before they can actually play any of it. Like say Altergeist is a big one and you go first, set your overflow and your cyberload, pop 2 with overflow, blow up 2 of their traps that they just set, cyberload go into rampage, blow up the other 2, now they have nothing and they can't even activate them to save themselves because they set them that turn. 1 overload fusion for our Verde Anaconda. Foolish Burial. Card's just crazy good, versatile. Sending like your core to banish it, sending your core or your fear, or not fear, your Naxter. So when you discard your hurts, you can get it back to your hand to normal summon it or special summon your Naxter, however you would go about that turn. Just so many things you can do with Foolish Burial, and I highly recommend playing it. That's it for our spells. On to our traps. Still a huge advocate for double overflow. As you can tell, we play, I don't want to say a controlled, but not OTK focused build, even though I do OTK more, as I said, than typically I had prior, just because of cards like Verde Anaconda opening up so much more with needing so much less. Being able to search itself if it's popped, or any extender that you need, and there's no cost to it. They negate it, and you keep all your stuff where it is, and otherwise it can pop up to 4 cards, so that's just really, really, really good. Other cards, we are playing Triple Impermanence because it dodges chain blocking. You can use it if you draw it as your first draw going second. And that's the card I was talking about before with Gamma and Nibiru. It's another way to make sure your Nibiru goes through. Like, they get a negate on board, you activate Nibiru, they activate their negate, you Gamma or Imperm them, and then Nibiru blows up their field, ends their turn, and you win the following turn. So multiple ways that we can do that with this deck, and it's a good interaction and fun, especially when it goes through and works, because we like to win. Posted a list very similar to this the other day. It was 40 cards. This one is 43, and I was playing Lightning Storms. After talking with a couple people, they kind of confirmed the thoughts I had already. Lightning Storm being obviously a very good card, that's why it's expensive, but with Eldritch being able to just reset their entire board during the end phase and like feeding off of their cards being destroyed, I did make the switch and went back to maining Evenly Matched. I'm not worried whatsoever about giving up my battle phase. If it means resolving Evenly Matched, I am 100% okay losing my battle phase, because you're not going to lose that game more often than not. So banishing face down is just so powerful and so strong and so good. I was playing 2 and kept the deck at 40, but at 41 the deck still does everything I want. Very, very rarely bricks, less than Dupe and 3 Cyber Dragons. You can argue that, you can say it's not true if you want, but I guess it's thought process and play style that would also come in there, and just knowing when you truly bricked or just when you don't see what you can continue to do and play. Bringing us to the extra deck, like I said, 41 card main deck. Extra deck, we were playing Cyber Twin because I just couldn't figure out what to put in that last spot, and might as well have the versatility. I actually went into it once recently in one of my matches, and it won me the game. Only time I actually used it. 2 Chimera Tech Rampage. One time I actually cyberloaded and overloaded going first, and milled with both of them, and I ended up having a pop 4 from overflow, and I made infinity using my 2 rampages. So that was just kind of a really awkward, probably won't ever happen again, but neat thing that happened. And just a lot of time like turboing one out with Verde, and then just possibly needing the second. It was there. I had really 2 open spots, so I went with fusions. Still 2 mega fleets. I'm really considering dropping this down to 1, mostly because Adamancipator, you only need 1 versus them. After that, you're not gonna get the most out of it, because they Do use links, but after you hit them with it once, the impactful links that you may take out just really aren't there, and Eldritch does, well, not play them. One Fortress, I was considering flip-flopping those ratios, especially with the two Kaijus, just because of the reasons we already just discussed. One Nova, one Infinity, I'm still more than happy with one of each. Nothing's happened to make me want more of either of them, so I don't see any reason to, and until I find one, I won't do it. The closest being the Earth True King in Dinos, but the Cyberload Fusion can still shuffle them back, especially playing 2 Rampages, which is actually another small reason for that. So they hit your 1 Rampage, but you can Cyberload Fusion, put your Nova, your Infinity, your Seeger, whatever they decide to hit back into the extra deck. 1 Pleiades, because bouncing a normal summon versus some decks just stops them completely on its own. One of my games in the match versus Salad, that's all I did. I just did Overflow 2 for Pop 2, but I didn't need it, and I just made Pleiades, and he normal buffer low, and I bounced it back to his hand. He couldn't go into Baylinks, he couldn't continue doing anything, he had no way to draw, and no Salad Monster went to the grave, so he couldn't trigger Gazelle, and it just completely shut him right down. Sometimes you'll be able to Gamma on your turn, whether it's like a Droll or Ash in response to Emergency, or more often than not, I found it's when you banish your core from the graveyard, and they try to negate it with a monster. So we're playing 1 Synchro. I went with Omega because just ripping a card from their hand is, well, ripping a card from their hand is kind of good. Links, we have Almirage and Anima as our link ones. I've been going into him a ton because you just go in one of your extra monster zones, attempt to steal the monster that you're pointing to, and either they negate it, you steal it, or anything like that. And you can also Kaiju them and put a monster there, and now you have a 3300 beater. Alright, those are our link 1s. We have 3 link 2s, 1 Seeger because, well, Cyber Dragon's pure Seeger there. 1 Lambda because Gamma and Driver, and we want to be able to make it live if we open it, and we still want to put Infinity, possible Overflow on board, so instead of having a dead Gamma in hand, we have Lambda, and we make a link 2 with Infinity incredibly easy. And finally, the card that makes this just such a good consistent deck is Verde Anaconda, because we can focus more on disrupting them. We can focus more on not our power cards, not our OTK cards, because it can just play it right out of the deck, and it just makes us have these 2-card combos that we did not have before. So I hope you guys liked, enjoyed. I know it might have drug on, and I know I'm not always the most fun person to listen to, but I try to be informative and explain things the best way I can. So I hope you guys liked it. Like, share, subscribe, let your friends know. Remember, playmat if we hit 1,000 subs by the end of May. The Field Center giveaway, again, that link will be down below. And come join the Facebook group. We may start holding some prize tournaments over Dueling Book if that's your cup of tea. Come join the Team Set Pass Facebook group, and see you then.